Look, obviously, close game, a hard-fought game. Both teams, did a lot of things well. I'm sure both teams, when we look at the film, probably did some things we didn't want to do. But those guys came out and fought hard. So did our guys, and we made a play at the end. That was the difference. So, any questions?
Sean, the momentum switch. Those 4 drives on offense, kind of to end regulation, and then into overtime. Just what game plan? What did you attack them with, kind of going into OT?
Look, yeah, there wasn't this plan on overtime game plan. It was more about, all right, what are we getting defensively? They played some base to our sub, and so we were going to be smart, but we were also. When you're into overtime, you're into your normal sequencing, and yet there is some urgency. They won the toss, that's fine, but being able to go down the field and score flips the pressure, and so for the record, it's important to understand that's why you don't go for the 2-point play that you guys were all going to ask me about if it didn't work out in the third quarter. The fourth quarter, you consider it, but a game that's scoring points. Now, fourth quarter, we probably would have went for 2. But look, Bo was fantastic in that final drive. Evan made a great play. A lot of guys stepped up, and then defensively, look, they're tough out. The quarterback was able to make some plays. Our 3rd and long again became an issue, and then they converted. Some 4th downs, but we got the play when we needed it.
Coach, speaking of going for 2, then going for 2 at the end, can you just take us through
that makes sense. Like I told you, I think I felt while they were driving and they moved into the red zone, I kind of felt like that if they scored, they were going to go for 2, and so that wasn't surprising.
What about Nick's play on that?
Yeah, it was big. We took a timeout just to get a look-see. It was kind of one of those Kodak situations where you want to just get a picture to see if they're going to come back and give you the same look. It was a 0 pressure, so Nick's the free rusher. And the irony is the ball hit his club hand. So, but it was a good play by him.
Sean, can you just the emotional swings of just their last drive? I mean, you thought the game was over on down, then there's the holding that takes a touchdown.
It's the first time for me, I don't know how many years as a head coach, where I took the quarterback to helmet out, and then there's that flag on the field, and we didn't get the sack, and the interference was called. So that's never happened before. So yeah, there was a lot of back and forth with that game. It's a great game to win. It's a tough one to lose. I just finished telling these guys, I can recall like the journey of a good team season involves games like this, and then you believe you can do it again. But I can remember that 09 season, having a game here. You guys can look it up. We were down a bunch of points and came back and won in overtime, and almost like wanted to sprint in the locker room and shower so they couldn't make us come back. So give those guys credit. Washington, that's a team that's got playoff pedigree now. Dan's done a great job. They were in the postseason last year. They've had some injuries. They were a handful tonight.
Sean, specifically, you lose to walk-offs early, so you're 1-2, and then you go back and you win a bunch of these similar type. What was the key to kind of winning them?
I say it all the time. You have to. It has to come from doing it, and I think you go back to the Philly game. That was. There's always these marks in a season, so. You can look at a few.
How do you feel that Alex Singleton did, and then especially his breakup of the pass on Ertz late in the game?
Yeah, listen, on who? On Ertz. Yeah.
Just how
Look, I think he played well. I have to look at the tape. But I think he played well.
Sean, I think there were 6 of 7 on third down and then finished 8 of 17. So what do you see from your defense?
Yeah, two things. And we're the same, but when the quarterback can extend, it becomes tougher, when you're in some of those zones. So we'll look at it. We talked about it just 5 minutes ago, all the things that we got to make sure that we're cleaning up and getting better, so it doesn't bite us later. But everyone fought. It was good.
Coach, you mentioned Bo, his play at the end of the first half where he's kind of fallen and throws that to Portland. How impressive was that to see?
Look, end of half, end of game, those critical moments. That was an amazing throw. We were worried his knee was down, but he had good poise, good command, was smart. Yeah, good.
Do you take it as a good thing you keep winning these, or is the coach part of you wondering?
There's always, listen, this is pick a Super Bowl team, and I say that respectfully, and then go look at that season. I mean, look at it honestly, and I can go back through, the 6 or 7 playoff teams or real good teams. You begin to build some momentum. Yeah, there's some things you want to clean up, but just take a peek at any one of them. And every once in a while you get one of those teams that just rolls right through it all. But this is a tough league.
Hey, Sean, you had Chris Abrams drain in, I think 4 Riley, 1 drive. Is that what sort of went into that?
That's a good question. I know we were trying to, when Patrick comes back, and then you had these others. It was more about keeping these guys in game form. And I knew that we were going to try to, so it was more about the rotation of just keeping them all going.
Sean, Evan, on the 2-minute drive at the end of the second quarter, really getting involved by moving around, finding zones. Was that sort of the vision that you had for him?
Look, the vision each week can change, but in a team that's playing zone, generally speaking, in a 2-minute drive, either the Y or the H are going to find these cavities if the receivers aren't underneath the route. So he was able to do that, and that was an important drive. Like quietly, that 2-minute drill, was the difference between winning and losing.
Coach, how big was it for the offense to respond with a touchdown after each of their touchdowns?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those frustrating nights running the ball. They did a few things differently by staying in their heavy personnel. Teams have been able to run the ball in sub against them. And to Dan's credit, they didn't allow that. So, we then started checking to some, scattering out of some of our one-back runs to throw it against their base to try to counteract that. But our guys adjusted well. And to your question, I think, look, Evan, it was one of his better games. The play he made in overtime was huge. The jerk route he ran was outstanding.
Does the trust in your run game utilization change without a veteran like J.K. in there?
It's nothing to do with the runner.
How did RJ?
Nothing good. We're going to watch the tape, but it trust me, it was just some looks where the evaluation will be on how we blocked it and then the scheme relative to what we were seeing defensively. The runners were good.
The things you're talking about, building on themselves in games like this and the confidence, is that something you feel, you sense as you get into a situation like tonight? Can you feel it on the sideline?
Yeah, and we began feeling it a long time ago, but when you get on a streak, yeah. I mean, generally when you have a good team, you win how many games in a row at some point. And when you win 9 in a row and then convert that to baseball or basketball, you guys do the math. What would it be? It's like 45 games. So it's a lot. And so you do begin to believe in it's going to happen. But there can't be that false belief. I mean, there has to be that preparation and the corrections so that the next week is better.
Sean, what was the locker room like after the game? Was it wild celebration or a feeling of...
No, it was loud. It was loud. No. We don't escape. We won. We won. And so we won a close game in overtime, but it was, loud, smoky, because we have a smoke machine, loud because we have a sound machine, all the above.
Sean, you mentioned getting a look with taking that timeout before the two-pointer, but how much does that help just kind of settle the defense down?
Well, it also, every once in a while, we call it a Kodak situation where you have a timeout, the game's going to end, so call the timeout, regroup, collect your thoughts. Vance did a great job changing a call up, and it was the right call.
Bo converted a lot of third and longs with his arm, with his legs. How have you seen him mature in those kind of crucial takedowns?
He's just one of those guys. One of the things that we really valued on tape was the foot athlete and the throws that he can make from some unusual positions. So he played well in a dirty pocket in college, meaning in our game it's going to be noisy sometimes, and so that you're seeing some of that carry over. You're seeing his confidence carry over, and he's just getting better and better, and we're operating better. Yeah.
The defensive call you just mentioned, you changed for the 2-point. Did you end up getting the play from them that you expected and you made the change?
Well, look, the challenge in those plays are design QB runs, which we were concerned with. And so some of your zone calls, if you will, at the 2-yard line. And so we went from one pressure to another. The initial call that we had was a zone call, and we felt like this was going to be a design. So we quick called a timeout, and then Vance and his staff did a great job of coming up, with the correct call. It's obviously the correct call when it works, but there's going to be a free rusher if you pressure the way we did, and you don't know like who's going to be the free rusher because the protection might, and so they left Nick free, and the timing and everything was great.
Sean, you talked about it this week, but at this point, is the 1 seed realistic in your mind?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the silliest question of the night. I mean, it's the silliest question of the night. We're competing for it, but certainly we respect the other teams in our conference, but certainly we're competing for it.
Well, I kind of knew what defense we were in, and I kind of figured out their play, and as it was happening, and I think the guy might have been open, but Nick did a great job of making an athletic play, and I was just really hoping the ball hit the ground at that moment, and sure enough it did. And when you realize the game's over, you can take a deep breath and enjoy it.
How do you deal with, you've been in a lot of these this year, with the wild swings of emotion from, looks like the game's over, Sean said he took the communication pack out of his pocket and thought it was done to catch a touchdown on the next play, just going back and forth. How do you stay? I know you're on the sideline.
Well, you have to do a good job of staying right, in the middle. The game's going to swing. It's going to have really good. It's going to have really bad. You just kind of have to stay in the middle, and I've really learned, I think, as a player, I've been through all of it, so I know you're going to get back to both sides. So if you stay in the middle with your temperament and your mindset and your attitude, usually everything will work out, and you can stay calm so everybody else can stay calm, and it's just football at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, what was going through your mind, though, that y'all are going to receive the ball in overtime, knowing they obviously ended up the field goal and sent it to overtime?
We were hoping to go on defense first, so when we got the football, it's just really important you score a touchdown because it puts the pressure on them. And I haven't played many overtime games in this league, so it's a little bit different. So, scoring first is obviously, it's a must. And then you got to score a touchdown because you can't really see what the other team does if you start on defense. So we did that in just a few plays. And, that last drive, RJ had a great first catch to get it going. He had a great pickup on the next play, block pickup, and then he gets the ball in the end zone, and it was pretty impressive. Really good drive for a rookie. He had no, back down in his face. He looked really confident, looked really good, and it's good. It's fun to see a guy like that put in all the work. Really, try really hard in the week. put in a lot of effort, put in a lot of work, and it showed. I mean, he continues to play better and better, and happy he's on our team.
Well, there's guys in that locker room who are kind of still buzzing about the touchdown throw that you made to Cortland at the end of the second quarter. Sean said we were just making sure he wasn't down. As that play's going, do you feel that, like how close you are to the ground in that moment to get that throw off?
Not really. I think from my perspective, it kind of feels like you're floating for a second, but I was obviously a little bit, close to being down, but, stayed up just long enough, and he did a great job. He started on the other side of the field and ran all the way to the other side, so he just scrambled with me and got open, and in a game like that, we literally talk about game of inches, but it really is, comes down to an inch or two every once in a while.
Well, what is it about you and pressure? I mean, you seem, we've been saying it all year, you're at your best when the pressure's the highest.
Well, I was told a long time ago by one of my many offensive coaches that, pressure is a privilege, and not many people get to be in that opportunity. So if it's going to be me who gets this opportunity, I'm going to make the best of it. And it doesn't always go your way. Fortunately for us, it's gone our way in these games. But last year, we were on the opposite end of these close ones. And so I understand what it's like to be on the other side of things. But you just got to keep moving on, and you got to have a belief that you're just going to find a way. And, didn't look great there for a minute, but we just found a way to make the next best play. And, at the end of the day, score one more point than they did, and that's the difference in the game in this league. It's every game comes down to the last possession pretty much, and so you just have to kind of accept the fact and just put yourself in that moment and don't change anything. Just go out and execute, and we just practice that way. We practice hard, and thank goodness for me. I think just playing in these close games is practice, and it helps. And I feel like I know we haven't, but I feel like we've seen any game possible, all the outcomes. But I know there's going to be many more.
Well, in a crazy game like this, did you notice the Broncos fans at all? Do you think it impacted the game?
Yeah, they were incredible. They traveled either a long way from Denver, or we got a lot of fans up this way, and it was loud. Definitely at times, really important moments. And it was just fun when you go on the road and you have an atmosphere that's cheering for you and pulling for you that much. It helps. I mean, it puts you in a good mentality. You feel like literally, they got your back out there, and you just go out there and you don't necessarily want to perform for them, but you do want to perform for the organization, because there's so many people that that put a lot in for this organization you want to give back to.
When you're having one of those kind of seasons where you're winning these kind of games over and over, to what extent does that build on itself, whether it's belief, confidence, whatever you want to say about when you get into a situation, a game like tonight?
Well, we got incredible belief. No matter what, we just kind of feel like we're going to figure out a way to win the game, make the next play, and we've been playing some really good football teams. I mean, tonight was another one. They were, felt like they were fully loaded besides Jaden, but I mean, Marcus played really, really well. He played, about as good probably as he, wanted to play. But I know he always come up short. But to grow up watching a football player like that, see all his success that he's had in his career, and also be able to watch the ups and the downs and how he's handled it. A guy like that, he deserves to go out there and, perform at that level. And you almost wish, both teams could win a game like that, because they played, their hearts out. They played really hard. They have special players on that other side, and he was the second pick of the draft for a reason, and he just showed a lot of heart, played really good. It was an honor to play against a guy like that I looked up to majority of my football career, and so he's going to respond well, and happy for him and proud to see him continue to battle through this NFL journey, and he deserves all the credit and for keeping that team in the game. But we've played some really good teams and going to play more, and we got a good belief that we're going to find ways to win.
But when you're in a position to be the best team in the NFL, depending on what happens tomorrow night. But do you feel the way this season is going that something special is going on?
Yeah, there's something special, but we also feel like there's more in the tank. We also feel like there's more to grow from, and we're very, as much as we feel like we've had success, there's a lot of guys in that locker room that are eager to perform better, know that there's a higher ceiling that we can play up to, and that's what we're going to continue to practice hard to do, continue to work. We spend a lot of time up, at the practice facility doing a lot of different things, and that work's going to continue because we're close and we're close and we're close, and we really enjoy winning these close ones. You definitely don't want to lose them, but you want to start winning a little bit bigger and putting opponents away the best you can.
Last question, Brandon.
Yeah, you said pressure is a privilege. I guess every Broncos team that's gone 10-2 has gone to the Super Bowl. So when you hear a stat like that, what kind of added pressure, or is there any, to try to, I guess, live up to that legacy?
I think there's no added pressure. When we started this season, we, every season starts with a goal, and our goal is to make a Super Bowl run and not just make it. We just want to win the whole thing. And so, funny thing about stats is tomorrow you're going to wake up, there's going to be a new stat, and there's going to be something else that, somebody else figured out that, this happened or this statistic, but they're just that. They're just a stat. They have nothing to do with the football game. They can't grow legs and go out there and score touchdowns for you. So for us, we have to continue to figure out a way to put all the distractions, all the noise, everything aside, and just continue to play as one team. And we're 10-2. We won 10 games last year, and that was at the end of the season, and we're not, at the end. So we've shown great improvement, but we definitely don't want to stop here. This is not where we wanted to be. We didn't want to be 10-2. We didn't want to get to December and be 10-2. That wasn't our goal. Our goal was to make a deep playoff run, and we're clearly not there yet. We haven't even had time to get there yet. So we're going to continue to battle, continue to fight. We have a great mindset in the locker room. Guys, really fighting and battling for each other. We love one another, and it's really an honor to be the quarterback of this team. I played on a lot of close football teams, but this is up there, with the best of them. So love our guys, love our coaches, and we're just going to continue to play as hard as we can.